My little babies are getting so big. So today we're going to talk about upsizing our chicks and at what age we do that. Thanks for joining. This is Tiff, the Informal Farmer.
Here are the chicks on the day we brought them home. They're just a few days old, definitely less than 1 week, and they're fitting in a small to medium-sized storage tote. So nothing fancy, just a simple tote with some water, food, and a cover so that the heat lamp can still get in.
So here we have our baby chicks in a brooder. We've got 10 different chicks, 5 different types. They're about 1 month old now, and we've been using this for their feeder, which has worked great, except they go through this whole food in about a day. And then the pine shavings, as you can see, start to get built up in there. I just changed it like 10 minutes ago, and it's usually way worse than that. This is what I've been using for their waterer, and it's great. It works great when the chicks are young, but again, I have it elevated here on a little tin and a piece of cardboard under there. So I'm trying to prevent the wood chips from getting in there, but these little rascals just kick so many wood chips in there, I'm having to change it twice a day. Here are the 2 different waterers that I use. I actually prefer this one, and I was going to put this in their new upgraded area, but unfortunately it has a little crack, which I'm not quite sure how to repair yet. So what I'm going to do is use this one, which I've already had from previous batches of chickens. And what I'll be doing is just putting it on a brick so it gets a little more height, not quite as tall as the one with legs, but hopefully it's high enough to keep the pine shavings out. So as you can see here, we're going to be upsizing the chicks from this yellow bin to this clear bin. The clear bin's a bit larger and it will hold them for the next couple weeks. The first step to get the clear bin ready is to fill it with pine, not fill it, put a nice layer of pine shavings in the bottom. What's nice about this table, some people put their brooders on the ground, which there's no problem with that, but my husband and I are a bit taller, so we've got this little foldable table. So we've put everything on top of there, which is nice because our pine shavings fit right underneath, our feed bucket fits right underneath, so it makes everything nice and convenient for us. So I'm going to just level out these pine shavings. And then the next step, I'm going to add the food and the water. So like I mentioned before, since I'm using the water without legs, I'll be placing it on top of a brick in there, just trying to keep the pine shavings out of there, because when the little chicks flap their wings, the pine shavings kind of fly around. Now, for those of you that are new to using waterers, I like to wait to tip over the waterer until I'm right here where I am placing it. In the beginning, when I first started, I'd fill it and then I'd turn it over and I'd be walking and water would be flying everywhere. So pro tip, don't flip it over until you get close to where you're going. Then when you're flipping it, right here's the part where the water comes out. That's the part that's going to be going away so it doesn't spill everywhere. All right, the water's in place. Next, I'm going to fill my feed bottle and add that. So I'm switching to using this type of feed dispenser. It holds more food. It gives them more space so they're not fighting as much for a place to eat. I got this cool little bin, believe it or not, of all places, from Aldi. So good luck trying to find one. They don't keep a regular stock. But it was labeled just as a dog food holder bin, and it came with this cool scoop. And so when I saw that, I knew it would be perfect for our chick feed. Chicks start out on a different type of feed. It's called Chick Starter, and it's something that's easy for them to eat, and it's formulated for young chickens. So this top is just going to screw right on there. And again, I'll flip it over. I think I'll place it, we'll test it out. I'll place it on this side. Now it's time to move the chicks. One little chick. Oh, this one's my favorite. Look at his puppy little cheeks. I think that's an Easter egger. Okay. Not sure what this one is. When we went to the feed store to pick up the chicks, I thought they only had 2 types in stock, which were blue stars and blue Australorps, I think, which I was happy about. But when we got there, they had California whites, the Easter eggers, and another type. So we told them just give us a mix. In the past, we've always had chicks of the same type, and this time we decided to switch it up a little bit. All right, last two coming through. Last one. And now here the chicks are in their new, larger home. See how they get acquainted here. Oh, see my water's a little low on one side, so we don't want it to, you want to make sure your water is level, because if it's not, it will kind of drip over the edge on the low side, and then it will make your bedding all wet. So I'm just going to try to level this out here. And young chicks aren't that smart, so when you bring them home for the first time, you have to make sure that they know where their water is by dipping their beak in it. So I'm just want to observe these ones and make sure that they can identify where their water is. And I'm not seeing them going right to it, so what I'll do is I'll pick the chick up and dip her beak. It's my habit of calling them boys, but they're definitely girl chicks. We got hens. These are egg chickens. So we just want to dip their beaks in the water. This is especially important to do the first time you bring them home, so that they know where their water is. Okay. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to cover this. I have a solid cover that fits because this is obviously like the storage tote. What we were using on the previous enclosure was just a piece of cut hardware cloth. So we'll probably continue using the hardware cloth so that the heat lamp can go in. But since this tote is bigger, I'm going to have this open space, so I'll have to find something that I can put on this end. And for the purposes of this video, we've moved the table forward. So when we're all done, we'll move the table back directly under the heat lamp so that they have heat. In Southern California, we're getting down sometimes into the 30s at night and mostly in the 40s right now. So we want to make sure they still have plenty of warmth. All right, I think that's it for the move for today. Join me next time where we'll be talking something about gardening, ponds, pigs, and stay tuned because I will definitely be giving another chick update for when we move them outside. Thanks for joining. This is Tiff, the Informal Farmer. Don't forget to subscribe.